Well, good evening, everyone. 48 First Alert meteorologist Chelsea Aaron here just to track some strong to severe storms this evening, provide you with some updates. Again, we did just get that severe thunderstorm watch during our 5 o'clock show. This covers only counties along and west of I-65. Like I mentioned, could clip portions of Limestone County. Heads up Athens, also portions of Lawrence County. And we do have a storm currently coming out of Mississippi. It's crossing over the Alabama state line. Note, this is supercellular in nature, has a classic look to it, but not every thunderstorm is going to produce a tornado. Right now, it is not rotating. The main impact with this storm is going to be large hail. In fact, I believe the National Weather Service just put a considerable damage tag on this. Tennis ball-sized hail is going to be possible. That's nearly 2 to 3 inches in diameter. We do have that severe warning for portions of Colbert. This includes Cherokee back into Franklin County, also including portions of Russellville. Note the worst of the winds and also the actual hail core still back in Mississippi, where you're seeing the purples and the magenta color. That is very, very, very large hail. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the winds coming with this storm too. Wind gusts could be in excess of 60 miles per hour. Again, the highest threat for severe weather will be for areas to the west. We are expecting this activity to gradually weaken as we head throughout the evening, but since the hail is so large with this storm, I just want to go ahead and get on here because many of you probably thought today was a gorgeous day. We had plenty of sunshine early on. If you do know of anyone who maybe has some outdoor plans that are still going on this evening, give them a heads up. I know the later sunsets are tempting. We're getting closer and closer to summer, but we are tracking again that isolated severe threat heading through this evening. This is not going to be a significant severe threat, but like I mentioned earlier, whenever I was doing basically a weather extra forecast for this evening, I expected a rogue storm or two that likely will go severe. And here we have it. Again, this kind of hail could cause damage not only to your cars, but also your property. So if you live in these areas, please, please, please try to put your car underneath a carport or something. And do not be outside as well. So just looking at some of the winds within this storm, and I'm not seeing rotation. There was a rotating storm. Let me see if it still has a tornado warning on it. It does. In western Tennessee, just north of Memphis there's a tornado warning. Again, the highest tornado risk is going to be staying off to our west today. Not completely zero for us, but main impacts for us definitely will be the straight line wind threat and also larger hail, which we're seeing right now. A lot of wind with this storm. 67 miles per hour there. And I'm going to get a better look at it too. So some 60, even close to 70 mile per hour wind gusts possible. And this is fairly close to the Columbus radar, which Columbus radar just due south, so wouldn't be surprised if this is an accurate reading. Again, very large hail, could be up to tennis ball sized hail. And unfortunately, we did just recently lose our hail product on here, meaning we can't see the size of it. There's no way for us to sample the size. All we really have are now these swath tools. But just by looking at it, I can guarantee you that this is producing hail. All the purple and magenta colors are indicative of that. And we're going to closely watch this. Again, this is a supercell storm. Has a very suspicious look. Has that hook type feature at the end. Hail basically indicates that the storm has a very, very strong updraft. And it is intensifying, so heads up, areas right across the Alabama-Mississippi state line there, especially in Colbert County and also far western Franklin County. Oh, wow. See, the colors are getting darker on this storm. Wow. And this, I'm just looking at the National Weather Service from Memphis. They cover portions of northeastern Mississippi, that storm that just came out of Tishomingo for us. Because typically, if we have a storm that has a history of doing damage, we have a good guarantee that it will continue to do damage as it tracks further down the line. Again, very, very strong thunderstorm. Severe warned storm continuing to move into northwest Alabama. This is going to go through 6:30 this evening. And again, this will cover Cherokee, Cedar Creek Reservoir, New Bethel, Russellville. Some places not currently in the warning, which I like to do this because just based on the environment, I could see this storm holding well together for quite some time. So places like Littleville, Muscle Shoals, Crooked Oak, you're in the warning. But these other areas, Leeton, I did a storm track during our 5 o'clock show, and it was right at 6:30. I would go ahead, head inside. This is not tornadic, but it is going to produce damage. Winds could be 60, 70 miles per hour, straight line wind damage. And hail could be tennis ball size. And this is really the only storm we have at the moment. Again, this was going to be a pretty messy setup. And I'm going to turn the lightning on. A lot of lightning within this storm too. A lot of lightning. And I didn't mention this, but this does cover portions of southern Lauderdale County as well. But just to take you out on a broader view, we have some storms moving in to the far northwestern corner of the state towards Waterloo. This is not severe. Seeing some winds there though, strong gusty winds possible, and also definitely some lightning going on. The rest of the area completely dry. You may be hearing some rumbles of thunder off in the distance, especially the closer to the storm. You might be seeing some lightning off in the distance too. But this is the only action that we really have. And if you do have questions, please drop them in the comments. I know a lot of people have storm anxiety these days, and social media, while it can be a great tool, especially nowadays, it almost has the adverse effect, and it doesn't make it any better because there's an overload of information, especially about the weather. And you have certain pages, individuals who are on YouTube and whatnot, and they like to prey on vulnerable people. And that includes some people like you who have a higher susceptibility to storm anxiety because they monetize on clicks, shares, and the content that they create. So the more fear and hype that they can instill, the more money that they're putting in their pockets. This will not be a significant severe weather day, but it only takes one to affect you. Primary concerns, especially at this point, will be larger hail with a few storms that are able to reach severe criteria. And again, that will be for areas mainly along and west of I-65. They will be producing strong gusty winds, damaging straight line winds, maybe in excess of 60 miles per hour. We're getting some possibilities of tennis ball sized hail. That is large. And then again, we will watch the possibility of a tornado. What way is the storm moving? It is moving due east. So I'm going to go ahead and put a storm track on this. It's moving around 40 miles per hour for people down the line. Yeah, due east. And note, you may be seeing this on other pages. This is cross-posted to our WAFF 48 news page. Unfortunately, I can only see the comments on my personal page where this is posted, so don't think for any second I'm ignoring you on purpose. I just can't see the comments. Please, if you have questions, you want them answered, I'll do my best to get to them in the comments. Sometimes they can be overwhelming, but try to put them in my personal page thread, because I cannot see them on any other pages where this might be posted. Worst the storm is here. Again, moving about 40 miles per hour. I think I'm going to make it more this way. So Littleville, likely around 6:33. Old Bethel, 6:45. And let me see if I can make this storm track larger. Include more areas down the line as well. There we go. Heck, I'll take it all the way through Limestone County. North Cortland, 705. Cortland, 706. Trinity, 722. And Greenbrier, 744. And this is if it stays on that current track due east. It could track a little bit more north-northeast. So you have plenty of time to get inside, think of your safe place. We are closely monitoring to see if this storm will start rotating right now. Certainly the main impacts are going to be straight line wind gusts, large hail, tennis ball size. That's about 2 to 3 inches in diameter. That's definitely going to do damage to your property, and do not be outdoors during this.
Do it at the top of the hour? Okay. How long you want?
How long do we have the slot for?
However long you want.
Can we do at least 30 seconds to a minute?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll be on the board.
Okay, thank you. And I'm about to do, huh?
Got about 3 minutes.
Okay, perfect, thank you. I'm about to do a cut in here shortly. So again, one last look at that storm track, and then I'm gonna go back into the storm on our velocity product just to look at it, the rotation or the possibility of rotating winds. I'm gonna clear this off. There is some broad rotation there, northwest Franklin County right here. Not overly concerning at the moment. We will watch it though very closely, and again, I will be doing a cut in here right at 6 o'clock. So you will see me on your television screens not too long from now. Again, watching some broad rotation. If you're just now tuning in, this is going to be in northwest Franklin County. And as always, we will break into scheduled programming if need be. Not overly impressive. It's not tight enough. We don't have that very nice pronounced couplet as of right now, but just something that we're going to watch. If you are in Franklin County, potentially in Crooked Oak, or in southern Colbert County, I would be for sure in your residence, but also just be thinking about your tornado shelter plan in case this does wrap up more within the next few minutes. No tornado warning. Again, just a severe thunderstorm warning. But we are watching some rotation, which with that next radar scan, it really just fizzled out. And I have about 1 minute, so again, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for this cut-in. And just keep me updated, Clark, please. Okay, thank you. Okay. 48 First Alert meteorologist Chelsea Aaron here just to provide a quick update for you this evening. We still do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect through midnight. This is going to cover counties mainly along and west of I-65, tracking a severe warned storm at this hour, moving into parts of Colbert County, also the northern fringes there of Franklin County. And we do have some broad rotations in northwest Franklin County. Right now, this is not tornadic, but we are going to watch quite closely. Main impacts, though, with this storm include damaging straight line wind gusts as high as 60, even 70 miles per hour, and very large destructive hail. Note this could be 2 to 3 inches in diameter, so please make sure you are getting in your safe place, and we will continue to track the threat for strong to severe storms likely throughout the rest of the evening. Now, this activity will be weakening as it pushes to the east, but we can't rule out it weakening completely. Of course, we'll keep you updated on air and online, but for now, we'll toss it back to regular scheduled programming. Thank you, Clark. Seven o'clock, yeah, that sounds good. Unless something changes, but that sounds great. Yeah, thank you. Again, just doing a quick cut in there. One severe warned storm we continue to track. This is very slow moving about 35, 40 miles per hour. Just got a video. This was sent in from the Colbert County emergency manager. Hail coming down like crazy. This is going to be in the Pogo community. Well over an inch, nearly 2 inches hail there. A lot of lightning within that storm. I'm going to turn it off though because it helps me see the wind within it, the actual storm, a little more clearly, and I'm going to take a look at some of the comments here. And someone's saying that there was a tornado tag possible on that warning. There was no tornado tag, but there was a considerable damage threat, the hail threat tag on this warning. Again, that's just because the hail's so large, but no tornado tag. Now the rotation does look like it's trying to tighten a bit. So we're going to watch this like a hawk. If you live in Crooked Oak, Russellville, Littleville, go ahead and start getting in your safe place. I'm going to go to a street level here. This is going to include Highway 84, close to Shady Grove Road, Highway 21 there. Again, this does not have a tornado warning at the moment, but we're watching it very closely. And I'm going to look at the shear rate too, and I mean the shear rate's picking up. That's for certain. Again, if you know anyone who lives in Crooked Oak, tell them to get in their safe place in their residence. You want to get away from all windows, all doors. The lowest, most interior part of your home is what we recommend. If you have a basement, that's the best place, or a storm shelter. If you don't, that's okay. A closet, a hallway will do, a bathroom. Again, biggest thing is to get away from all doors and windows. Shear rate really starting to pick up with this storm. I'm going to look at the debris as well. See, I think the debris is a bit contaminated here. But it's definitely rotating, especially in the mid-levels, so. Some people ask me, are these storms going to make it to Madison County? Areas to the east, you're going to see storms more than likely, but by the time they head east of I-65, they might just be very heavy rainfall producers and also noisy. Big boomers, we call them. A lot of lightning. Because even with the limited instability that we had today, especially surface-based, that was all really west of 65. So yes, northwest Alabama, you're taking the hardest hit. This is really what we expected. Now granted, some systems overperform. You can have overperforming, underperforming. We never can really tell you exactly what is going to happen with these types of situations, and this was borderline from the get-go. Unfortunately, weather is not like that. I wish it were. It would make my job a whole lot easier, but you have so many variables with weather. Some that are competing against each other, some that act to enhance each other, and they're acting simultaneously. And if one thing changes, it basically changes the outcome of everything. Think about it that way. So we use the tools, the knowledge that we have to basically give you a good idea of what could happen. I don't really like to go with worst case scenario type forecasting. It's always better to have a dry bias than a wet bias. But note, at least it should give you clear indications of what to prepare for. I mean, we were lucky this past weekend. Central Alabama, not so much, and sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. So again, if you're just now tuning in, continuing to watch this rotation here. It has been tightening up over the last couple of scans, so it is not tornado warned quite yet. And this is headed straight towards Crooked Oak. So again, Crooked Oak, Littleville, you're not even in this severe thunderstorm warning. Get in your safe place. I'm giving you a large heads up here. This is just due east of Highway 247, south and east. Close to Green Hill Road, Highway 84. We're getting some pictures. I wish I could show these to you. These are from, again, the Colbert County Emergency Manager. Some of that hail, can confirm, was at least ping pong size. We do have another warning up here. This was for that storm that moved out of Waterloo. I don't want to get tunnel vision, and I know many of you are watching and asking about your towns, so I promise I'm going to get to it. This is going to include, basically it's butted up towards the Lauderdale-Limestone County line. And I'm going to see when this warning goes until. So this is going to be until 7 o'clock. And this is your standard severe thunderstorm warning. Wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail possible. So right around Central Heights. And this is a pretty large severe thunderstorm warning as well. Typically, the National Weather Service draws them up so large when they're moving fast. That's not the case here. These are only moving around 35, 40 miles per hour. Where some of the storms the last week, I mean, they were zooming, like 70 mile per hour storms. I think it's due to the fact that these storms could maintain their intensity for quite a long duration. Shear rate not overly impressive, and just looking at the hail, I really wish we had our previous hail product. That one was really, really nice. Some hail popping up just southwest of Cypress Inn. I'm going to switch to our high top if I can see this better. This area is kind of a no man's land where you can't really get a good eye on either radar from Columbus, GWX, or high top there in Jackson County. Yeah, some 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts possible within the storm. It's rotating in the mid-levels, but not concerning, especially towards the surface. I am going to go back to this storm. And look at it from the high top, which you can't see diddly anything there. And it is beginning to track a little more northeast, like I mentioned earlier. So towards places like Leeton. And I'm going to look at the shear rate again. Oh, the shear rate is just so strong. Again, if you live in Crooked Oak, Littleville, even Russellville, because I think that's a little too close for comfort. If you're not already, please, please, please be thinking about where you're going to go for your safe place. What devices you're going to take with you so you can still get weather information. Because that rotation keeps trying to tighten up. Thank you, Kay. Hailing in Russellville. About what size you think that hail is? Core of this storm is approaching Henry Road there in Colbert County. And looking at this storm again in Lauderdale County, straight line wind damage is going to be the primary impact with this storm, whereas the storm to the south is showing pretty clear signs of rotation. So the worst part of the storm now just due east of Central Heights. About to head towards Hines, St. Florine area. Also 43 there. Lexington, portions of Anderson, you're all included in this. In Rogersville, this likely is going to miss you to the north. And they just did add a tornado tag possible to this storm south. This is going to cover Franklin and Colbert County. Again, the area of rotation, which, let me see. Still appears to be teeter-tottering right between Crooked Oak and Russellville there. And that's kind of where the highest shear rate is as well. Coincides right there. Again, Littleville, you don't even have a warning. Please, please, please be thinking about where you're going to go. Go ahead and go there. I recommend if you have a helmet of some sort, a bike helmet, take it with you. Your head is the most important part of your body that you want to protect. A lot of people asking for a timeline, but I'm going to watch this area of rotation just a bit longer. Because these things change very quickly and you can miss it within one radar scan. So I do want to keep an eye on this before I go through any of the future casting this evening. Thank you, Stephen. Dime size and Crooked Oak. Appreciate it. And the National Weather Service now in the process of drawing up a new warning. This is for the current storm we're talking about in Franklin and Colbert County. They're going to extend it into Lawrence County, and they just did. That's popping up there. So areas like Littleville, Hatton, go ahead, hunker down, brace yourself. This will likely be moving directly over you within the next 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm going to go ahead and do an updated storm track on this. Still moving about 35, 40 miles per hour. Don't want to get too zoomed in, because sometimes whenever you get too zoomed in, it doesn't really like it. So worst part of the storm is like right here. We'll just take it out there. And I'm going to add some locations down the line as well. I want to see if they kept the tornado tag possible on this. They did not. They just kept the considerable hail threat and thunderstorm damage threat into Lawrence County. So I just pushed it all the way into Madison County. Is it going to hold up that far down the line? No way to tell, really. And we expect this activity just to fall apart once they track to the east, basically. But Crooked Oak, it's basically on top of you right now. Littleville, it'll be headed your way here soon. Hatton, 7:04. Trinity, 7:37. Decatur, 7:47. And Greenbrier closer to 8 o'clock. And this is if the storm completely maintains speed, intensity, and direction. It could speed up, could slow down. That would change the projected timeline, but this is just a good guesstimate here. Huntsville, if it holds together completely, about 2 hours from now. Talk about a lead time. That gives you plenty of time in advance. And no word if we will see the severe thunderstorm watch extended east. I don't see that happening. Granted, I'm not the person who makes these calls, so don't hold me to that. But once I have an update and further information, of course, I will let you know as soon as possible. Mill Creek, Elm, 8:11. Pea-sized hail being reported. This is from the the emergency manager there in Colbert County. So the hail size getting smaller is a good sign. When the hail size is getting bigger, like I said earlier, that means that your storm has a very strong updraft, and it was intensifying. Some broad rotation, again, still happening between the Crooked Oak, Russellville area, but it's broadened out considerably from the last time that we looked at it within the latest scan. And let me choose a different remote because I think the batteries just went dead on this other one. Take you back to radar real quick. I'm going to go back up to this storm to the north. This storm just due north of Killen, now moving through Hines community. Still pretty far from the high top radar, so I think we're going to stick with the Columbus. Not seeing any rotation within this storm. Again, just damaging wind gusts possible. Maybe 55, 60 miles per hour. This is just north of Highway 72. Iron City should miss you for the most part. Just probably hearing some thundering off in the distance. Let me see. Well, you have lightning all around you. Sometimes whenever I turn the lightning off. I lose my frame of reference there, but worse the weather, going to stay above you, Rogersville, also killing, but it's about to cross over 43. Some quarter-sized hail, that's about an inch in diameter, 60 miles per hour possible, not seeing any rotation within the storm. And the rotation in the storm to the south, which we've been tracking through Franklin and Colbert County for the most part, now extended into Lawrence, that rotation has broadened out a great bit and is weakening. For the most part, everything is going the way that we expected it to. An initial hard hit, very intense storms, and then they generally fall apart. Some might be able to maintain themselves. Again, a rogue storm or two, definitely possible, but we're expecting minor impacts for the most part. And to check the comments, can you please do a timeline? Yes, I am going to do a timeline real quick. I just wanted to watch that area pretty closely. So it's about 6:30 right now. Probably not going to make any adjustments to the current timeline. I will if things change, but pretty confident in the way that things are going right now. So Northwest Alabama, surprise, surprise, it's happening now. Now to 9 o'clock, that's a safe bet. This would include Marion County, all the way up through portions of southern Middle Tennessee into Lawrenceburg. Areas in yellow along the I-65 corridor, Addison through Coleman County, up through Lacey Springs, Huntsville. Again, Athens, Lawrence County, back into Moulton, and west, you are in the watch. All other counties are not. And then northeast Alabama, right around 9 o'clock in the evening to midnight. And it will still be raining after midnight, more than likely. However, we do not expect that activity to be severe. This watch currently, this goes through midnight. I don't expect severe weather lingering through that point. So the National Weather Service could completely cancel it early. We won't know that until we have that official word, but this is the latest, most updated timeline. And just to take you through one of our future cast here. And I said this earlier too, whenever we did our digital stream right at 4:30, this is gonna be pretty messy, pretty messy. I don't even really want to call it a linear system because It's not really a good-looking line by any means. But it will continue to move through northwest Alabama through the next hour and a half, couple of hours. It will weaken quickly. We're going to see this environment become rain-cooled sooner than later. Just an initial hit and then boom, it fizzles. It continues to sink southeast and weakening as it does. No Sand Mountain magic this evening. And then we just have a big old rainmaker. Still some lightning possible out there overnight as well. You're going to hear some rumbles of thunder, but you should be able to get the all clear. You can go to bed relatively early tonight. This will not be an all-nighter. Can we expect tornadoes in Albertville? No, Tegan, no. We're not expecting severe weather to make it east of 65 this evening. And again, Marshall County, you are not included in the watch. And I'm not thinking that that will be extended to the east. People asking tornado in Athens, we can't tell you and pinpoint where a tornado might be. Athens, you are included in the severe thunderstorm watch. We're going to keep a close eye on it. Right now, you have nothing imminent looming at the moment. The only storms we have currently, the one that I've been tracking since it crossed over the Mississippi state line and well before then, still in Franklin, Colbert County. It's in southern Colbert, northern Franklin County. Worst part of it right now is really in Colbert County. All of this south is basically just rain. And I'm going to look at the winds again. And then we have another storm in Lauderdale County, now crossing over 43 at the moment. This is going to be, I mean, it's basically right over Green Hill, north of Killen. It's going to go through Lexington and Anderson down the line. St. Florine, you are included in this warning. You're probably getting alerts on your weather radio, but not even a drop of rain really for you. And just looking at the National Weather Service, seeing some views there that they have from a live weather camera in Hatton, showing a fairly high-based updraft with some scud rising, attempting to form a wall cloud, staying ragged at the moment. Scud. Scud basically is it's suspicious. It's a suspicious-looking cloud, but it's not a tornado. It looks like a tornado. Can be very deceiving. Scary looking clouds. They're basically just low-lying, ragged cloud fragments. They're mistaken for funnel clouds. They actually form beneath the larger storm cloud, but again, they're not tornadoes. Just a scud. They're harmless. So to take you back to that storm real quick. Still has a good bit of lightning. I'm just moving fairly slow. Very slow. Shear rate has gone down tremendously. So far so good. Let's hope the trends continue and it keeps on weakening. Not seeing any low level rotation again. Trends are showing a good sign overall. Do I see any tornado threats with either of these storms? Not at the moment, Travis. The rotation has greatly weakened within this storm that has moved through Littleville. I mean, the worst is over for you. Now tracking towards Old Bethel, Wolf Springs, Hatton, Town Creek, Edmond. It's going to be moving into Lawrence County here soon. I felt like it was in Franklin and Colbert County for a good while. Maybe I'm just used to the storms that we dealt with last time around. Lost a lot of those characteristics. And the other storm there, severe warning storm in Lauderdale County, not rotating. It hasn't really looked all that impressive. Still some damaging straight line wind gusts possible, but this one has by far been the most intense storm that we've seen so far. Reports of trees down in the town of Littleville with this storm moving through. So the storm is producing damage. We expected some minor tree damage, some power outages throughout the night. So far, we're on track. This could cause more tree damage as it tracks into Lawrence County. I'm gonna put another storm track on it real quick. Maybe you're just now tuning in. And the National Weather Service just went ahead and canceled that severe thunderstorm warning for Lauderdale County. So this is the only warning we have. Again, this has been the most intense one. Only reports of damage we've received was in Littleville. If you've had damage at your residence, you know someone that's had damage, please let us know. Helps us get the word out to our media partners, the National Weather Service. And also officials as well, so people know to avoid that area. And there is no more tornado tag possible on this storm. I believe I already mentioned that, but I just wanted to make that apparent. The considerable damage tag was taken off of this as well. Still some larger hail though, about 1.5 inches. That's going to be larger than a quarter in diameter. But the rotation not showing up as pronounced as it once was. Let me go ahead and do a storm track now real quick for all of you. And this basically just This covers the entire top half from Moulton north of Lawrence County. So I'm going to go into the worst part of the storm here, which is right near Old Bethel, and just take it out. And I always have to tell myself to zoom out or it's going to get angry. Okay. And I think it's still moving fairly slow, about 35, 40 miles per hour. Due east. Might want to take it more east, and let me zoom out some more. Take it this way. And I'm going to add some more places in there. And again, this is taking into account if it holds together. Old Bethel is basically right on top of you. Hatton, you have just over 10 minutes, so closer to 7 o'clock. Trinity, around 7:30. Decatur, (7:35). Triana, closer to 8 o'clock. Owens Crossroads, 8:16. Woodville, that's far down the line. That's going to be right around 8:34. Again, not tornadic. Large hail, still a primary threat with this storm, and 60-mile-per-hour winds, which will do damage. This severe thunderstorm warning is going to go through 7:15. Still covers part of Franklin and Colbert County. Franklin County, other than that small northeastern edge of the county, the worst of the weather is basically out of your area. And people asking about mobile homes. Yes, 60 miles per hour can cause damage to a mobile home, especially if they're poorly constructed, not properly anchored. We never recommend you be in a mobile home during severe weather at all. And when you get above that 60 mile per hour mark, I mean, things go from bad to worse quite quickly, where your mobile home can actually be flipped. Not tracking wind gusts of that magnitude currently, but just something to note. Again, if your mobile home's anchored properly, you can ride out a storm with winds as high as 50, 60 mile per hour safely. But if they're poorly constructed, I wouldn't risk it. Thank you, Hailing in White Oak. Appreciate it. Getting lots of reports of hail this evening, which I talked a little bit about that yesterday. when I was looking at some of the forecast parameters, we look at the steep mid-level lapse rates, we call them. The lapse rates were impressive, but the entire setup not overly impressive, which I hope we communicated that message clearly. I did do some risk perception research back in my graduate studies. I'm still very interested in that. And basically, I did a case study on how individuals, specifically in the Southeast, because we have several physical and social vulnerabilities, how people perceive and personalize risk of tornadic events and how that equates to them taking protective action. And it's very complex. I mean, sometimes age will enhance someone's ability to take protective action or just diminish it altogether. And several other factors play a role and influence that as well. Humans are complicated, basically. More complicated than the physical science, which the weather will humble you quickly. I've also said that numerous times. Have any flash flooding reports come in associated with these storms? No, Keith. I'm not seeing any flooding reports at all. Granted, I think there will more than likely be some areas of flooding, likely minor flooding through the evening. Rainfall totals will only be 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Nothing excessive. If you do live in a low-lying area, an area that is more prone to flooding though, I'm sure that you're going to have some ponding. Tegan, is Albertville okay to go to bed tonight? Should we stay up and prepare to take shelter? I get this question asked time and time again on these Facebook Lives. You know, what you do, that's kind of your prerogative. I can't tell you to go to bed. It's not ethical of me as a meteorologist. I will say you're not currently included in the severe thunderstorm watch east of I-65. Do with that information as you will. Not sure if the National Weather Service will extend that east. If they do, I'll be the first to let y'all know. This is not going to be an overly significant severe weather threat. Storms weakening as they move east. More than likely occasional lightning, very heavy rainfall for northeast Alabama. I'd still have ways to receive weather alerts. If you are to go to bed, make sure all of your devices are turned on loud. Don't have the silent function on, but again, that's just my 2 cents. So back to the storm, still tracking this storm that's moving into Lawrence County, rotation, weakening. Very, very broad. It's not even really apparent anymore within this storm. Still hail and wind threats. And so the National Weather Service will likely keep this as it moves into areas like Hatton and far eastern Lawrence County. They did just reissue a thunderstorm warning back up into Lauderdale County. This is going to go until 7:30. And the lightning really picked up again towards Gravelly Springs. I'm going to turn the lightning off so I can see a little bit better. Damaging wind gusts possible with this storm, right in between Stewartville and Gravelly Springs. Likely excess 55, maybe 60 miles per hour. And quarter-size hail picking up again. Yeah. Towards Central Heights. Not seeing rotation. Again, just your typical severe thunderstorm warning. There's no tornado tag possible. Just mainly a wind and a hail threat. Pea-sized hail being reported. I want to say this is the Maud community. This is just southwest Colbert County. Maud, M-A-U-D. I don't want to butcher that name, especially if you live there. Oh, thank you, Danny. Pea-sized hail, high winds in Rhodesville, Alabama. Rachel, something else coming into Florence? Yes, there is this new severe thunderstorm warning. Worst of the weather likely will stay north of you in Florence. You're not even included in this warning. And I'm just going to put this into motion because Florence, you're likely going to see rain coming out of this new cluster of cells that just now moved into Cherokee. And I'm going to put the lightning back on real quick. There's nothing imminent at the moment for you, Florence, or you, Muscle Shoals. And if I don't say your town name, your city name, typically that's a good thing. That means there's not a lot happening. And for most areas at this hour, that holds true. Athens, someone asking about Athens, like I just mentioned, you're good. You are in the clear as of right now. More than likely, this storm in Lauderdale County will go to the north of you in Athens, and this storm in Lawrence County continues to track due east. I don't see this impacting Athens. If that changes, again, I'll let you know. It continues to weaken, especially that tornado threat. And they're about to officially trim Franklin and Colbert County out of the severe thunderstorm warning. Because again, it's just primarily in Lawrence County at this point. Right over Hatton, Cortland. Check some of the hail there. Not any hail showing up within that storm. Only hail that's showing up is back in Lauderdale County. See if we can. And I will have another cut-in coming up here at 7 o'clock. Just wanted to make you aware. Still going to be here on Facebook Live, but if you hear me not talking to y'all, that's why. And so I'm going to get some of these graphics ready real quick, and then I promise I'll get back to your comments as soon as I can. Thank you. I looked at the time too. I was like, I need to be coming up anyways, or soon.
You have your IFB in?
I do.
Okay, cool.
It's just y'all didn't take out programming, so I've been turning it off.
Do you want me to now?
Well, no, because we're about to do this cut-in, but
Yeah.
when I'm doing the Facebook Live, I can't hear myself talk.
After we're done, do you want me to take it all out then?
No, I think it's fine because we've just been doing cut-ins at the top and the bottom of the hour, so
Okay.
yeah. Let's just leave it for now. Just talking to some of our people in the control room in TMP. Just rain in Hatton. Thank you, Jessica. Again, don't worry, I'll get to your comments, more of them here soon. I just wanted to get some things ready for this cut-in. Just real fast. And you'll probably see me moving things around. I didn't forget about anybody. And let me clear this real quick. I hope everyone has at least had a good first half of the weekend yesterday, despite the not so great weather today. Okay, I'm about finished there. And this should be anywhere from a 30-second to a minute cut-in, so again, bear with me, and I'll be there as soon as possible. Promise. Thank you, Tyler. Okay. Okay. Stay tuned. I will be right back, and if you're watching at home, you'll see me here in just a couple of minutes. You said 30, Tyler? Okay, thank you. Are you rolling the open again? Okay. Okay. 48 First Alert meteorologist Chelsea Aaron here, back with you this evening, continuing to track two different severe warning storms. One there in Lauderdale County that continues to push to the east very slowly, about 35-40 miles per hour. Another one that's just to the north there of Cortland, the south should I say, in portions of Lawrence County. And we have been closely watching for some rotation within that southern storm, but latest trends have been weakening the storm, which is always good news. Still some gusty winds in excess of 60 miles per hour possible now moving through Underwood, heads up Killen down the line. Also Lexington and Anderson, as you could be tracking some damaging straight line winds and also some small hail. Tracking some bigger hail there, portions of Hillsborough, heads up. This hail could be anywhere from 2 to 3 inches in diameter. We will continue to keep you updated. I do not recommend traveling, especially along Highway 72. If you do have friends and family, please make sure that they are off the roads. We do continue to watch for any weak rotation there towards Hatton, but again, this area has really broadened out and we continue to track a weakening trend as these storms push to the east. We'll continue to keep you updated throughout the rest of the evening. For now, we'll toss it back to your regular scheduled programming. Okay. Getting back to business now and trying to catch up on some of the comments. Oh, thank you, Keith. That is too sweet. I appreciate your kind words. And of course, we'll continue to give and provide coverage as we had throughout the rest of the night as need be. That watch, severe thunderstorm watch, does go or stays in effect through midnight. I don't see that being the case in terms of the severe threat lasting that long, if that can provide some relief. Tree down, this is going to be on Walnut Lane, coming from the National Weather Service. I believe this was the official tree down report from Littleville. Go back into these storms real quick. Again, these storms have really weakened in terms of any rotation. Just gusty winds as high as 50 and 60 miles per hour. Hail still a possibility. I think the larger hail definitely going to remain in this storm, just due south of Cortland, which earlier wasn't even showing up. Raining sideways in Underwood, Petersville. Thank you, Heather. Husband's sitting on the porch watching in Athens. Yeah, Athens, you're pretty clear right now. I'm going to put this into motion because I know someone asked about Athens earlier, and I still think this is going to go due south of you in Athens. Making sure it doesn't take a northeasterly turn, though, because if it does, your husband might want to get back in from the porch. We do have some other severe warning storms coming in from Mississippi. This is to the south of our viewing area for Marion County, where Hamilton is. I know we do have some viewers in Hackleburg. So I'm going to take a look at that in a minute. And then I'm going to take a minute just to go through the forecast for the rest of the evening and into the week ahead. The week ahead looks fantastic, by the way. If the weather currently has you down, y'all are really in for a treat once this is over with. Thank you, Debbie. Getting some small hail close to St. Florine. Appreciate it. I'm going to go back into that storm, but I promise to talk about some of these storms now coming in to our south. And like I said earlier, very messy setup. So once you see an initial round of storms, and I'm talking about northwest Alabama, you're going to see more come in on the back edge here. See, we already have this new storm that developed just east of Corinth, Mississippi, headed toward Waterloo. Not going to be a pretty linear feature. Just some lightning within that storm. I'd say some winds as high as 40 miles per hour. And the National Weather Service just said that the severe thunderstorm warning in Lawrence County, this now includes Morgan County too, will be allowed to expire in 10 minutes because it continues to weaken. So this is all great news. But note, just because a storm passes you, don't think that it's going to be over. You're likely going to see more storms come in its place. So these are the other severe warned storms I was talking about. This storm, just looking at its current track, it's moving due east just like the other storm was. So it's probably going to ride the Marion and then southern Franklin County line from Vina back through Hodges, Hackleburg. Worst part of the storm, I mean, it's going to be awfully close, but I think it will stay south of you at least, Vina. But Hackleburg, just a heads up, since we do have some viewers who watch us there, this is going to be producing larger hail and also winds that could exceed 60 miles per hour. I'm not seeing any rotating of the winds. And it's a big boomer, huge lightning producer. But just watching that storm, and again, down the line, this is going to mainly affect central Alabama, so south of our viewing area, but just a nice heads up. This storm continues to weaken here in Lawrence County. They're going to allow the warning to expire in the next 10 minutes. Getting some hail reported there, small hail, I think was mentioned in the comments. Thank you, I think it's Alyssa. Starting to ramp up in Killen, your live feed keeps going out here. Are you watching on your phone, the live feed on your phone, or on a different device? What I'm asking is, are you watching on cellular data or Wi-Fi? Strong winds there. Again, going to be approaching Killen. I don't see any rotating of the winds by any means. Worst thing with this storm might just be the hail. Because if I had to guess, that's still showing up. Yeah. Right over St. Florine, where someone said. someone asking about Athens. I'll get back to Athens in just 1 second, but some 45-mile-per-hour winds are possible with this storm. Let me turn off the lightning real quick so I can see better. "45 to 50, I'd say. Really popping up there near St. Florine, right where the hail is. But again, it's not rotating, and it's going to cross 43 here shortly. So heads up down the line, Rogersville. I'm going to do a storm track on this real quick for everyone watching. And I believe this is still a slow mover. Yeah, about 35, 40 miles per hour. Take it out, and I'm gonna have to zoom out. And this one might clip the northern city limits there of Athens. But it will be a minute. So that's something to keep in mind. And I'm just going to continue to take it out in time, in case it flares up again. So Anderson, about 7:40. You have over 30 minutes. Elkmont, closer to 8 o'clock. Harvest is going to be into Madison County at that point, 8:21. Sparkman High, 8:24. And then Meridianville right at 8:37, around 8:40. Again, some 50, 55 mile per hour wind gusts possible with the storm. Hail could be quarter size. And this is going to be in effect through 7:30 this evening. Whereas the severe thunderstorm warning to our south completely allowed to expire in Lawrence County. Lots of lightning in Center Star from a fellow Chelsea. Thank you, Chelsea. These for sure are going to have a lot of lightning with them. Just comes with the territory. And I kind of want to show you, I'm not sure how far out west this goes, but There are tons of severe thunderstorm warnings well out to our west. Mississippi, down through Louisiana, even in Arkansas. And the forecast is really holding up. Just amazing. Which you work on a forecast for several days in advance. And there's a lot riding on these forecasts, right? You included. And so to see them play out your work in real time, it's the little wins. And again, I saw some YouTubers earlier in the week, last week, talking about this threat, that it was going to be a super severe weather outbreak. You know, and I just kind of had to roll my eyes a little bit. Because at least for the Tennessee Valley, it never really looked impressive. And there's no point in scaring people. There's just no point in that. Very windy, heavy rain in Killen. Thank you, Sarah Beth. Yeah, the worst of this storm, now our only severe warned storm, starting to move into Killen now. So let's take us home. And let me watch that. Yeah, I think that's going to stay south of you in Athens. I was watching that cell that completely weakened, moving out of Lawrence County. But this one's still packing a punch. Again, worst part of it now moving into Killen. Right along Highway 43 there. .60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We just got our new radar scan, so let me go ahead and take that off real quick. Heads up, Lexington, Anderson, Rogersville down the line. Some hail possible, quarter size, maybe some dime sized. We've gotten a lot of dime size reports too. And I'm gonna put back on the hail tracker real quick. Hail has gone away, at least on the high top, because I just switched over since we are getting somewhat closer. The Columbus radar doesn't have any hail either. And again, it's just really difficult to get a good vantage point here, but I can tell you some 60-mile-per-hour winds are going on. Hearing thunder in Athens. Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, you're probably hearing it in the distance. We'll see if the National Weather Service wants to downstream this warning into Limestone County. And I'm sorry for the constant sniffles. I felt like for the past couple of days when I was doing my weather segments, I I could barely breathe because the pollen has been so bad. And the wind today, tell me if I'm crazy, but I literally saw, the wind was shaking the trees today, and it was just like big, huge swaths of pollen was coming out of them. Like when you're dusting something. I mean, it was insane. Just massive amounts of pollen coming out of the trees today as the wind was blowing, which didn't help. This week will be very bad for you pollen sufferers. We might see some temporary relief early Monday morning, but that's it. The rest of the week, each man for himself, honestly. We'll be dry, we'll be windy at times. Well, maybe not windy, I think that's a stretch. But breezy at times. The winds, though, are going to just keep blowing the pollen around. Again, only severe warning storm we have at the moment continues to move through Killen, down the line, more than likely Anderson, but it is moving quite slowly, about 35, 40 miles per hour. Heavy rain, gusty winds, all possible within this storm. Hail, quarter-sized hail possible. And National Weather Service at Birmingham actually just issued a severe thunderstorm warning for that storm I was watching coming out of Mississippi. Put it back on the Columbus radar, towards Hamilton and Hackleburg. Again, worst of this storm, staying south of Uvina in Franklin County. It's right here. And it's going. So, nothing to worry about, at least in Franklin County. Hackleburg, I think it might even stay south of you as well. I'm going to put this into motion real quick. Yeah, I mean, that's its latest trend, to stay south. And then Waterloo getting some rain again. A lot of lightning there too. I'm going to look at some of the wind data in that storm. Like I mentioned, there are going to be some more storms coming on the back edge of this, because it's not pretty at all. But what's helping, and this is what I said earlier, this environment will become rain-cooled quickly from all the storms moving through the areas now. And the ingredients are really just not favorable along and east of 65. I believe they just expired or canceled altogether the severe thunderstorm warning there in Lauderdale County. Storm weekend below severe criteria. I'd still say some small hail, gusty winds possible as it moves down the line, but again, not at severe criteria, which is winds of 58 miles per hour or higher and quarter-sized hail, 1 inch in diameter. So Waterloo, and I'm going to go back to Russellville as well because you'll get some more storms here soon if you're not already hearing the booming in the distance. Should we worry on the east side of Scottsboro? More than likely, Odina, no. Storms will weaken greatly as they continue to push east. That's the overall trend. And once I look at these storms real quick, I'm going to go through the rest of the evening, what's ahead for the week, and if things look pretty quiet and look like they're winding down at least, I'm going to hop off of here on this Facebook Live, which this might be one of the shortest ones I've ever done. Let you go. And of course, if anything refires, I will be back. But I'm pretty confident with the state of everything at the moment. So that should tell you something, some good news. Does that mean we're completely out of the woods? And no, I'm not going to say that. We still have the severe thunderstorm watch through midnight, but the National Weather Service might start going from severe thunderstorm warnings to what we call special weather statements. Those are basically just strong storms. They don't reach severe weather criteria, but again, they're still enough to make your eyebrows raise a bit. And speak of the devil, they just issued a special weather statement. This is going to be for Lauderdale, Limestone, Lawrence, Lincoln, Tennessee, and then Colbert County. I know that's a lot of people, but wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour, pea-sized hail. And it's just to cover a lot of ground. And it's this. This is what they're issuing for. And here, I'll put it on the Huntsville radar to help you see a little bit better. That. That's all. I don't believe Franklin County is included in this, but you get the gist. It's just along the leading edge of now this congealed line. Do we think we will have tornadoes in Elkmont and Athens? No. I mean, I can't say for certain, no, we're not going to have a tornado throughout the rest of the night. But like I said, watching trends, things are looking really good. And after that initial hit, which we really had in northwest Alabama, and these are going to weaken these storms quite quickly, and that's what's happening. We're going to make sure things don't refire. I promise I will be here. Again, just based on latest thinking, might let y'all go after I go through the rest of your forecast this evening and through the week ahead. But I will be watching still. And I just want to report this as well. This is going to be 332 Wheaton Drive in Florence, possible structure fire due to lightning. I think Florence Fire being dispatched now to the scene to check. And update, fire on the scene checking, same structure is not on fire, so false alarm. A lot of action still remains to the west. Some more heavy rain coming through Waterloo, Iuka. 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts, pea-sized hail. Possible, just seeing some little spurts along this line here. Heads up, Russellville is coming again, but likely won't be as intense as that first round that we had. And then someone asked about Athens, so I'll go back to Athens. Athens, you're still clear, but you do have this line of storms coming your way. So maybe that's what I'll do. I will just do a pretty, which I don't like doing, I call them blanket storm tracks. That just means they're very large because things could change and things could change quickly, meaning you lose the accuracy, but I don't see things changing at least as this pushes east. I see it weakening dramatically, heavy rainfall, maybe some occasional lightning, but that's about it. So let me just do a pretty large storm track here. And it's not moving this fast, so maybe we'll do 45 miles per hour. That's a good, safe bet. And I want to make it more east versus southeast, but we'll just leave it for now. And I'm going to take it out in time. Just to give everyone kind of a good idea, which who knows if it will even, it's not even going to show it that far out, but. Coxie 740, so in the next 10 minutes or so, Elkton 742, Hatton 746, and I'm naming off some of the same places I've already said. Ardmore around 750, Athens 755. And that's if everything holds together, and yes, I can guarantee rain. The winds might subside though by the time it gets there. Cindy, I'm sorry, I just came on, but do we have a few storms tonight or just the one coming through? Where do you live, Cindy? Because, I mean, it really just depends on that. There's not going to be a pretty linear feature where it's intense for 15 to 20 minutes and then dry air on the backside. Not really. And rain could very well, I mean, it'll be messy overnight. Rain very well continuing overnight, but the rain gets out of here early. Probably 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe even before that. I can promise the strong to severe threat will be over well before then, probably before midnight. Tony, yeah, Cindy, more than likely you'll deal with some rounds of rain here and there. But we're not tracking multiple rounds of strong to severe storms. Again, we'll be rain cooled quite quickly if we're not already, if that helps. And Fayetteville just popped up on the map, so I'll go ahead and give them a shout out, 8 o'clock. Huntland, someone asking about Huntland. I'd say give or take, if Fayetteville is around 8 o'clock, then just doing the math in my head, I'd say 8:15. Probably nearly an hour there in Huntland. Okay, so I feel pretty good the way that things are going right now. Some strong gusty winds, small hail possible. But all severe warnings have been allowed to expire. So I'm going to take you throughout the rest of your forecast tonight, into the next work week, and then I'm going to let you go for the evening. Don't worry, that doesn't mean I'm heading out of the building. I'm still going to be here. But There's no imminent threats. And so I will come back on as needed. Someone asking, once this line goes through, is the severe threat over? Not necessarily. There's more development happening out to our west. I'll show you. But that's what we're basically waiting and seeing. How rain-cooled we can get with some of the initial storms that just moved northwest Alabama. Once these storms out west make it into the area, is it just going to be rain at that point? Which I'm going to go look at our temperatures to see what they're looking like, now that I think about it. I mean, that's like over a 10-degree drop there in Muscle Shoals, which granted the sun has gone down, but they were at 76 degrees, now it's 64, which is good. And Russellville's at 68. They have some rain on them right now, so they'll probably cool some more. The cooler we get, the better things will be. But no, it's not going to be one line, clean, we're out of here. It's going to be multiple storms just streaming in from the west, but it's not going to be multiple rounds of severe storms. Again, it should be winding down quickly here if it hasn't already. So we'll still continue to monitor the threat for strong to severe storms. Right now, storms are weakening, which is a good thing, but we're still going to keep a close eye on for damaging wind gusts, heavy rainfall, and larger hail, likely quarter size. Expect frequent lightning with these storms as well. Some locations, once storms actually reach your area in northeast Alabama, you might just see heavy rainfall and occasional lightning. And so hour by hour on our futurecast here, it's about 7:37. This is our graph model, and it looks pretty accurate to me. Within, I mean, some margin of error. Doesn't look half bad to what we're seeing right now. And so let me take you back to the home screen and compare. This is what the model's predicting at 8 o'clock. This is what it's predicting right now. Pretty spot on. So just going based off the graph model, heavy rain, gusty winds, small hail, all possible as this line sinks to the south and east. It will weaken quickly as it continues to race towards I-65 corridor, northeast Alabama, and then it just becomes a blob of rain and lightning. I don't see this lasting through midnight, the strong to severe threat whatsoever. The rain continues periodically overnight. We get rid of the rain though well before sunrise on Monday, and the skies will gradually clear. Plenty of sunshine, high temperature slightly cooler on Monday, likely upper 60s. But a gorgeous start to the week, and we're in for a fantastic stretch of weather. Sunshine each and every day. We will see a cold front move through on Wednesday. This cold front is a dry frontal boundary. There's going to be no rain associated with it. Only noticeable change is we're going to go from middle, even upper 30s, excuse me. What season am I in? Middle upper 70s on Tuesday, back down into the lower 70s, closer to seasonal averages this time of year. Keep the lower 70s on Thursday, and what do you know, we warm back up toward 80 again on Friday. Our next chance for rain will not return until next weekend. Looking likely late Saturday and into Sunday. And then a more unsettled weather pattern will start to take shape as we head early in April. Are we going to see severe weather during that time frame? We don't really know that far in advance. Don't have details for you, but we will give them to you as we have them. So get ready. Once we get past today, this is behind us, we are going to be in cruise control. Someone asking about tornadoes. The tornado threat is extremely low. It's not completely zero, it's worth mentioning, but it's not our primary impact through tonight. Primary impacts, damaging straight line winds, some larger hail, heavy rainfall, frequent lightning. Better tornado threat will stay to our west of us. And the National Weather Service just gave an update and said that they're going to issue another special weather statement for the storm now moving through Franklin County towards Russellville, which I figured they would. Again, the earlier one did not include Franklin County. Threats include hail less than an inch and wind gusts around 40 miles per hour. So below severe limits. And I'll put back up the radar real quick so you see what I'm talking about. A lot of lightning still going on, and I'm going to turn back on the lightning counter. Lightning and heavy rain, but these storms are sub-severe, which is a good thing. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to stay here, keep a close eye on everything, but so far trends are looking really good. Can't rule out some strong storms as we head throughout the rest of the evening. Severe storms, though, looking unlikely as storms continue to weaken. I would still expect impacts including strong gusty winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, some small pea-sized hail, and heavy rainfall, but hopefully we get out of this unscathed and we have a nice week to look forward to. Thank you so much for joining tonight. As always, we will be back if need be.